Episode 24. Exit Stage Left.
Welcome back to Chasing Tales, the final installment in this thrilling chapter, where we will find out how will Sarah keep up with the load she has taken on, and what will Pinky do about her plan.
Somewhere in England, Russa sits, drinking tea, people-watching from an outdoor cafe. She blows poisonous polio kisses at schoolboys. She casually stirs her tea. She thinks about how nice it is to be out from underneath her influence. She wondered what she was up to. In a strange way, she missed her. Then she worried what Pole would do. Pink would probably kill him. Pole appears beside her in his boxers and a bathrobe, a coffee mug in his hand. Fluffy bunnies doing obscene things are painted on the side.
Ratha, you really need to control your thoughts. I thought I could hear you from hell.
You must have been focused on me because you're infatuated with me.
Sugar, don't flatter yourself. My interest in you is purely professional. I'm just here because he has another job.
What does he want now?
India, it's a long job, so enjoy yourself.
Pole steals a bun from someone's plate
Yoink.
while they aren't looking and takes a bite.
Great. I hate India.
She waves her hand and changes into a black and red sari. Then she ports away. Pole puts the half-eaten bun on the plate of the man to our victim's right. Pole pats the rube and wishes him luck. He ports home to finish getting ready for work. Pink sleeps, lying on the couch with a blanket over her, clutching a picture of her and Tex. Tears have collected in a damp spot on the pillow. She dreams of Will and Sarah. She's standing before them, explaining what she needs, answering their questions.
So let me get this straight. You want us to believe that I'm gonna miscarry, but you can save the baby by taking over its body, and then we'll be raising you somehow? I'm sorry, Pink, it's just too much. I know it's a lot to accept, but you just have to trust the process.
Is this why you done all these things for me and Mama? Why you been pushing Sarah and me? Were you just setting us up just to use us?
No, I would have helped you anyway. And if you'll recall, I helped you long before there was a you and Sarah. And I'll continue to do so, even if you say no. As for pushing Sarah on you, that's between you two. Your mama only wanted to see you married before she died. That push had nothing to do with me.
Why can't you make my mama better then? Why can't you do that if you got so much magic?
I can't stop the march of time. Otherwise, I wouldn't need a new body myself. If I could have done that, I would have saved Tex and your mama, and I wouldn't need you to be here.
How can you be so sure you'll really die? Can't we just avoid the situation?
I wish I could, but things have been set in motion that I don't have control over.
This is too big of an ass, Pink. I can't. You'll have to figure it out some other way.
Sarah, do you feel this way too? I'm sorry, Pink, but I'm with Will on this one. It's just too much of an ask.
Pink's eyes pop open suddenly with a gasp. She slowly hauls herself off the couch and stretches. She takes a shower and dresses, then calls Kevin.
Hello?
Morning, Kev. I'm sorry about last night. Also, thank you for being there for me.
I kinda knew you were gonna break last night. I was there for it. When you fell asleep, I just covered you up and left you where you were. You okay?
Not really. I feel like I can't do this with Will and Sarah. It's too much to even ask.
Well, you've changed bodies before. Maybe you can hit the hospital or something. See if anybody is available.
I'm desperate, but not that desperate.
There is one way to make that karma drop you were looking for.
Oh, Kevin, no, that's not even an option. It's unforgivable. Besides, offing my own body would put me under Lucy's control. I don't think Syndicate would like that very much. I could lose everything.
Well, perhaps talk to your friends in Haven. Someone might have an answer for you. Can you get back in yet?
No, I tried to reach out while I was getting myself together and it just wouldn't go through.
Well, hang on, and keep your eyes open. Something always presents itself when you need it. and even if you can't talk to them, surely God can see you and get you a message.
She plays with a matchbook. Chapel on Thames is written on the back.
It's not like it's never happened before. Mysterious ways and all that. So you busy?
Well, I just got the show crew settled, and I'm free for whatever you want, Pink.
Meet me at the chapel on Thames.
I'll see you soon.
They hang up and Pink drags herself into the sun. Will woke suddenly. He had just had the strangest dream about Pink. All he wanted to do is open his mouth and uncover his eyes and be right again. These long hours of boredom are going to kill him. Sarah is cooking in the kitchen. He can hear her singing softly. The scent of bacon and eggs wafts his way. It would still be a while before he could even eat that. She must be feeding Kate. He hadn't heard any coughing this morning, but he was still foggy. Then the coughing began. In a way, he was relieved she was still here. He mulled over the dream in his mind. Pink asking if they could be her new parents? It was ridiculous. He had never seen her do anything magical. How could that be right? It was just a silly, weird dream. He could hear Sarah and Kate talking quietly, but he had a hard time figuring out what they were talking about. This was going to be a tough recovery. He wished it was over already. Sarah bops into the room. She straightens her apron and sits on the bed.
I'm taking your mama back to the hospital this morning. Are you gonna be all right? You know what? I'll call Eric. He said anything you need, just to ask. Let's just get you some food first.
She put a bowl of soup on the table and grabbed a clean syringe from her apron pocket. She slowly fed him soup until he could take no more. She helped him rinse his mouth with salt and water and brush his teeth. She fluffs his pillows and puts a cold compress on his face.
Your mouth is getting all dry. I'll get some petroleum jelly when I'm out. You rest, okay? I'll be back in a little while.
She kissed him on the forehead. He felt the slow slide of her hand down his. He could hear the taper and stop of her footsteps. She makes a phone call. Kate shuffled into the room.
I love you, baby. I'll be back after they look me over.
Sarah clicks into the room again with fast feet. She kisses him and leaves.
Come on now, Mama Kate.
Will thinks to himself that not being able to see or talk must be what prison feels like. He can't wait until he can at least see. Kate sits in the examination room at the hospital. The doctor pokes and prods at her, listening to her breathing.
Mrs. Partry, we're gonna want to run some more tests. I'd like to keep you overnight.
Are you sure that's necessary?
I'm afraid so, miss. We knew it might come to this, didn't we, Mrs. Partry?
Kate nods and starts coughing again. At the chapel, Pink kneels and prays while Kevin writes in his notebook in one of the pews. She pours out all she has to say, hoping that they can hear her. She waits a moment as she wipes tears away from her eyes. The air changes around her as time stops. Pink looks around, Metatron standing with her hands folded.
Pink, I was wondering when you'd call.
Pink glanced at Kevin, who sat frozen.
Things are... I can't. I just don't know what to do.
Metatron looks at her sympathetically as she breaks into tears again.
Now, Pink, I know taking the kind of rejection you dreamed about is hard. I know you feel it's unfair to your friends to even ask them, but it has to happen.
Metatron pats her gently with what sympathy she could muster.
Then there's Tex. I just miss him so much. I just want to go and sleep and never wake up again. And it's only getting worse. I can't work with this crippling feeling.
Use it to your advantage.
She leaves Pink with little comfort. Time resumes and Kevin notices she is standing and stands to join her.
Anything?
Nothing useful?
Here. Have a hanky. Come on, Pink. Let me buy you breakfast.
Pink shrugs and they walk out. In the club, Jack sits quietly working. He hears a noise and stands up, his hand on his gun.
Al, is that you?
There is no sound. Jack settles his breathing and waits. The floorboard at the head of the hall squeaks. Someone is here. He pulls it out of the holster and cocks it. He slowly slides into position of best advantage. Jack tilts his head, sure he knows this person standing in the door. Splinters.
You could have knocked. What do you want?
He throws a cigarette box on the edge of the desk and comes around. Moreland grabs a cigarette. Jack lights it. They sit together.
I won't mince no words with you. I believe your boss lady owes me 3 goons. Dear to me though they was.
What does that have to do with me?
Moreland rises and looms over the desk, causing Jack to lean back.
I want you to quit this dame who's got you working over a noodle shop. Come work for me.
Thanks, but no thanks. I'm no goon.
Nah, maybe not. But you are lucky. How in the middle of this nearly nice neighborhood are you still open with a colored man in the front?
He's colored?
Hey, don't be a wise guy.
You know, I've always wondered, are you Moreland's or Scavelli's real Italians, or is it just some kind of gimmick?
Jack, I'll overlook this disrespect this once, because you're out of options. Soon you ain't gonna have no place to go but me.
I'll send you a bill for the door. County lockup, right?
Moreland stomps off. Things quiet down for a little bit. Jack cleans up, time passes, and he goes away, and then comes back with trim and tools to sort it out, good as new. When Pink sees him again, he's sitting at his desk, in the same position, doing the same thing he was when she left 10 hours ago. The glass is still only half full. She leaned over and waved her hand in front of his face. He laughed and sat up.
Jack, fresh paint in an unventilated room? Did you think I couldn't smell it? What happened?
Moreland tried to recruit me.
But my door. That brute.
Jack leans over and sniffs, then lightning fast grabs Pink and dives out of the room. The desk explodes. Jack has her covered. She watches as the dust and debris settle. She can just see a glint of a feather's edge. Then it's gone. She thinks about it, remembering that it's Jack, shakes her head and pats him. Jack uncurls himself and helps Pink to her feet. They brush themselves off.
Jack, are you okay?
Yeah, you?
Yeah. How did you know it was going to blow right then?
Moreland is predictable.
Well, if that's true, you probably should have waited to fix the door.
Yeah, but where am I going to find a new desk at this hour?
Pink nudges him playfully. The next couple of weeks flew by. Sarah split her time between Will at home and Kate at the hospital. The wear was starting to show. She was always neat, pressed, and cheerful, but Pink could see it. She caught Sarah in mid-motion as she rushed barefoot across the floor.
Sarah, you need a break. Let me help you.
She pulls away from Pink.
I've got this. You don't have to prove anything. They already love you. Please, let me take Kate's watch for a few days. Stay here and be here for Will. You'll at least be comfortable if you decide to rest. All right.
Sarah sighs, nods her head, and flies off to Will with the compress. Sin and Otto stand in the hall outside of their rooms in what is probably the swankiest place in the Hells.
This can't be the hills, right? There's running water.
Extra-dimensional space.
Of course. What do you suppose we're going to be doing?
Otto shrugs and snorts through his bullhead snout.
You know I like you better this way. It reflects your personality.
At least I don't have to prance.
Sin thought of a cunning retort just as the hall opened into a huge, beautiful space. A fireplace dominated the center of the room, and the side nearest to them was covered with tables full of tools and projects. There was an instruction packet at the entry.
Sin, Otto, please feel free to flex. You may play with any ideas you like here. No restrictions. Just as long as your karma can take it, that is. Sin, you have a pastry kitchen set up for you. Please indulge in some practice to raise your karma before our guest arrives. We don't want her to miss her cake, now do we?
Otto and Sin look at each other and shrug.
Let's get to work.
Outside of Moreland's office, a man materializes out of the black smoke. He is neat with black hair and a black suit with a red antelope stitched at the collar. He has a scar that runs down the length of his face. Moreland steps into the shadows. He realizes Sprex is standing there and jumps.
Oh, Mr. S, you gotta stop sneaking up on me like that. I almost had a damn heart attack.
Moreland finally jangles the key into the lock and Sprex slams his hand on the door. Moreland jumped again.
How could you fail to kill one human?
Look, I don't know how he survived, Mr. S. Honest.
Do it again. We have a liaison at this address. Tell him it's about the colored kid. He'll know what to do.
Sure, boss. But why is this pencil pusher so important? I thought it was the dame you were after.
He's her outside man. Clean as a whistle, but knows everything and everybody she knows. We take him out, it limits her options.
Right. Okay, so I just contact this guy here and he'll sort it out. Do I gotta pay him?
Nah, he's on my payroll.
He's on your payroll. Alright, of course. Well, nice doing business with you then.
Sprex walked away. Moreland is so shaken it took him a couple of tries before he could even get through the door. He pours himself a drink and made the call. The contact only said yes and hung up the phone. Now Jake had chased this dame around for a while, but he'd never thought about taking out her lieutenant. He missed his lieutenants. He raised his glass for his fallen goons until he passed out on the sofa in his office, far away from his noisy wife and noisy kids. A little peace and quiet. Then the building explodes. This time, there are no survivors. Sprex lights a cigarette, chuckles to himself.
That's the price for failure.
He floats away with the smoke of the burning building. Pink sits at the hospital with Kate, who is currently sleeping. Kevin comes into the room. She rises and kisses him on the cheek.
Kevin,
How is she?
the doc says she's not really gonna recover. She may get to go home for a little bit, in a few weeks, if they can keep the fluid buildup down. How are Will and Sarah doing?
Well, Eric is with him now. She's sleeping. Will is feeling a little better. They were talking about changing out his bandages when I left.
Kev, are you good?
Sure. You can go get some sleep.
Thank you.
Pink leaves Kevin to go home for a bit. Eric and Will are playing a hand-slapping game on the bed. Will has already beat him several rounds. I thought you'd be an easy mark since you can't see. Will nods his head and mumbles. After winning a couple more slaps, Will stops Eric with a timeout sign. He points to his eyes. Sure thing, buddy. Let's get these changed out. The bandages unwound and slowly light seeped in. He blinked and cringed a little. Let me put these drops in your eyes. He carefully does so. Will blinks a little and Eric pats his face with a damp cloth. His eyes are still bloody red. Things are a bit blurry, but he can see Eric sitting near him in the chair. He indicates that he would like paper from the table. He scribbles shakily and shows it to Eric.
I can still see enough to write.
I know, but you shouldn't overdo it. You know we're going to have to put them right back on, right?
Wait for Sarah. Want to see?
Eric patted him and nodded. You got it. So you want to go another round? Will puts his hands out. This time, Eric wins. Sarah comes into the room sleepily, rubbing her eyes.
Good morning, Eric. Oh, Will, you have the bandages off. Did you put the drops in?
Sure did. She leaned down and kissed Will. She looked into his bloodshot eyes and smiled.
How are you feeling? Can you see much?
Yeah, it's blurry. But I am glad to see you.
She puts her hand out and touches him softly.
You know what? I had the weirdest dream.
Will writes on the paper.
Me too. What was yours about?
Pink wanted us to be her new parents. Isn't that silly?
We said no in the dream.
Yeah, but of course we would have said no. It's just so strange.
Spring came and went, and as Will improved, Kate declined. After a while he healed and was good as new. He and Sarah spent all their time together, even to see Kate. Midsummer arrived and Kate came home. She wanted to be with her family if there was nothing more to be done. Robert and Yo-Yo came for a visit too. At the moment they were in the club getting ready for the evening show. It was nice to have so many of the people they loved in one place. Will sat quietly staring. She patted him on the shoulder.
I know, Will, honey. It's so nice to have everybody here.
He looked at Eric and the other guys in the band. Jack, Kevin, Pink, Robert, Yo-Yo, and finally his beloved mama. He went down on one knee quite suddenly and offered Sarah the ring.
Sarah, you've been so amazing looking after us and all. I would be a fool to let you get away. Will you marry me?
Oh, Will, yes. It's always been yes.
Everyone starts clapping. Kate is crying. Al, the bartender, opens the door for the pastor from their church. He comes in with a host of other people from the congregation. They cheer as they flood in. Sarah turns to Will.
You had all this planned? What if I'd said no?
But you didn't.
I might have.
He grabbed her and he kissed her, and the room exploded into cheers and applause.
No, never mind. I never would have said no.
Well, if you want to change your mind, little lady, this is your last chance. She hugged him. God is good. The preacher shook Will's hand. You ready? Will nods. You ready, miss?
Yes.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to join these two lovely people in holy matrimony. If there's anyone has something to say, do it now, and we'll move on. He pauses. Pink slides in with a bouquet and hands it to Sarah. She hugs her and Pink steps back. William Partry, do you take this woman to be your wife in times of peace and in times of trouble? Do you promise to honor and to love her?
I do.
And you, Sarah Starlet, do you take this man to be your husband in times of peace and in times of trouble? Do you promise to be his helper in all that he does?
I do.
Will and Sarah look at each other and smile. Then by the power vested in me by the state of Texas and our Heavenly Father, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride. He kisses her passionately while the whole club melts around them in a fury of noise. There's an explosion from the back rooms and everyone starts screaming in panic. Pink directs traffic. Kevin stands at the door helping move people.
Jack, we've got almost everyone out. Come on.
Will, Sarah, and Jack are headed towards the door when a beam crashes down, separating them. Will and Pink on one side, Jack and Sarah on the other.
Come on, Will. Let's go to the stage door. They have to come out there.
Sarah coughed. She lost her balance and tripped and fell. Jack helped her up and out of the stage door. The door burst open and light spills into the dark alley as they come out. Jack and Kevin stand near Pink. Sarah and Will are coughing, distracted but happy to be alive and together. In the chaos, a shot rings out. The bullet whizzes by Jack, barely missing. With unexpected speed, he pinpoints the shooter and drops her. Kevin catches Pink as she falls and gently puts her onto the ground, his jacket rolled up underneath her head. Her pink suit grows redder every second.
Jack! Pink's been hit.
Jack rushes over and kneels down beside them. Will and Sarah kneel behind them.
Last chance to say yes, kids.
They suddenly knew what she meant. They looked at each other and slowly shook their heads.
Jack, I'll be back. Go to Plan B. Kevin, look after Jack.
With that, she gave up her last breath. Jack and Kevin watched as the fire was put out. They stood silently as Pink's body was whisked away in a silent ambulance. They helped organize people to be checked out and released. Kate, Will, and Sarah went home. Jack stood with his hands in his pockets. Kevin finally broke the silence.
Oh, what now?
Well, we have a club to rebuild.
Will and Sarah lay cuddled in the bed asleep. Kate lay awake, her ragged breathing stopping and starting erratically. Pink stood discorporated next to the bed. Kate looked over, unsurprised to see her.
I'm glad they sent you.
You ready, Kate?
I'm ready.
Pink lifted Kate's spirit from her body. They whisked away to Haven. Kate's body lay still. Pink's body lay in the morgue, none the wiser.
A tragic beginning for young lovers and a tragic end to a life well lived. Kate, you will be missed. What's next for Pink? Stay tuned for Season 4 of Chasing Tales, A Fish in Hot Water.
We'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day. Keep smiling through, just like you always do, till the blue skies drive the dark clouds far away. So will you please say hello to the folks that I know? Tell them I won't be long. They'll be happy to know that as you saw me go, I was singing this song. We'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day. We'll meet again. Don't know where, don't